while the world is spinning around, burning down. I am still alive. While the world is spinning around, burning down, I'm still alive. Must be a better way, dreaming of a better day. Let us all pray. They'll all go away. And the world is growing down, burning down, spinning around. Feel the world is spinning around, burning down today. Must be a better way. Let us all pray. Yes, everybody, the world is spinning round. The world is burning down. But we're still alive, but we've got to find a better way. Let us pray that we'll all go away. No, today was a different day for me. I woke up here in Israel overlooking the hills of Bethlehem and Jerusalem. 5 in the morning, I was in silent prayer for peace, and I had an inspiring day, and I woke up with a prophecy. It wasn't an external voice, it was an internal voice. And call it what you want, a vision, a solution. But for 30 years, I've been in Israel studying the history, learning so many things. But there's one thing I never got in 30 years, and that was from a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, from the right or for the left. I never got anyone to give me one reasonable solution to this cycle of violence. But today, I was in deep, silent prayer. I went to sleep in the position. I woke up and I had the prophecy. I had the prophecy for Palestine. That's right. It's true that the whole world must together unite to take out the terrorists, to take out all the Hamas infrastructure that has held the Palestinian people hijacked. But you know what? The only solution and way to do that is at the same time, we're going to create a new flag. It's going to incorporate the Israeli flag with the Palestinian flag, and it's going to be called Palesrael. There's going to be a new anthem, and what it's going to include is that the only solution is there could be no victory if the Jewish people are not going to have their safety and the Palestinian people are going to have a future. And the only way that can happen is we have to declare that this land is not a Palestinian homeland. This land is not a Jewish homeland. This land is a land that from 120 years ago, starting, the nations of the world promised the land to two peoples. And I don't want to get into all the details, but the nations, mostly Britain and France, they caused the hell that the Jewish people and the Palestinian people have been locked into all these years. And these are two brave people, the Zionist Jewish dream of a new homeland. In some ways, it's really saved the Jews from the Holocaust, and the brave Palestinian continuation for a future, even though the terror was bad and those terrorists are wicked, but they're also a brave people. But now we need for the peace of all the children of all the generations and to let a peace tidal wave go across the world. We have to know that we have to reunite the family of Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Esav, and Jacob. And I want to give you a little lesson that the name Yishmael, that in Hebrew means God listens. We have in the Jewish tradition that Yishmael had a huge religious power, and that's why it says Abraham loved him. But the problem was, it says that his religious fervor could easily turn from religious fervor of love to a burning fire of hate. And that's what we saw. And that was Sarah, when she was nervous. We have to keep this away. This is a burning fire. And so Abraham, he didn't realize what his wife was telling him. So she explained to him that religious fervor needs to be balanced with a settled judgment. You cannot have just one side kindness without judgment. You can't have religious fire without patience and compassion. And so Isaac was raised more in a strict value system. And that's why Isaac, when he saw Esav, who represented the Christian world, he saw he's a little bit aggressive. He's a hunter, but he told his wife, I'm going to bless him. I got to keep him close. No matter what, no matter how rough he's going to be, I cannot throw him out of the house like happened to Ishmael, because my brother Ishmael got hurt, and he needed to have Sarah's guidance, and he needed Abraham's guidance, because now I see, as it says, his hand is amongst his brothers and his brother's hand is on his. So we need to reunite this family. And the Christian world, and the Lord Balfour, who was an avowed Christian, he's the one who promised the land of Israel back to the Jewish people, because he realized there's over 20 Muslim countries. There's no Jewish country. There's plenty of Christian countries. Let's give this little sliver of land. You see, what they didn't understand, they thought after World War I, the French and the British, they gave this huge piece of land to the Arabs. They gave them Jordan and Iraq, Syria. It's huge. So the English thought there'll be no problem of giving this little sliver of land to the Jews. The only problem, they didn't realize that they had this Arab population that was stuck, that they weren't going to get accepted into Iraq. And they had all these inter-family conflicts between them that plagued the Muslim world, between the princes and the brothers and the different ways. And they couldn't go into Syria, and they couldn't go into Lebanon and Jordan. And so the two people got stuck here for years. And now the only solution is we have to give citizenship to all the Palestinian people that don't have citizenship, but it has to be done in a smart, unique way, where the IDF has to take over all of Gaza. It has to take over all of the West Bank, demilitarize it. But at the same time, you have to tell everyone we are going to give full civil rights, just like in the land of Israel. It's the best example in the whole world where Muslims, Christians, and Jews can live together. There's over 1.5 million Muslims living in the state of Israel with full citizenship, where Jews can be Jews, Muslims can be Muslims, Christians can be Christians. We can make it happen, but each side is going to have to understand if we keep going like this is the only solution. We have to take out the terror structure because this keeps the Palestinian children suffering. And we have to give citizenship. At the same time, this has to be a safe haven for the Jews, a safe haven country, not a Jewish country, not a Palestinian country, a democratic country for all religions, but it has to be specifically a safe haven for the Jewish people. It has to be a 65% majority in the Knesset. It can never be less because of the world situation with anti Semitism, because of the reality that the nation, there's so many Muslim nations, but there's no Jewish nation. That's the reality of what needs to happen. The Temple Mount, it needs to be in total control of the Muslim people. No one except Muslims should go up to the Temple Mount for the next 5 years. And as Palace Rail is being built, and as we find a way to slowly incorporate all Palestinians, there's no other solution. You can't make them part of Egypt. Egypt doesn't want them. You can't make them part of Jordan and Syria. They don't want them. They don't want to go there. They know they'll get killed. Palestinians get might not have full freedoms in Israel, but they're not killed like they are in those places. We have to find them citizenship. We have to make all extreme ideology illegal, whether it's Jewish, Christian, or Muslim ideology, whatever extreme violent ideology it is, it has to be outlawed. We have to fight for women's rights, that no more can there be one man with more than one woman wife. The woman's rights in the Muslim world here in Israel, of the people who aren't citizens, you can still have 3, 4 wives. This is terrible for the women. This is terrible for the women, and the abuses that happen there are bad. We have to help re-educate all of the people of Israel. Jews are not taught to hate. They're taught to believe that this is their homeland, but they're not raised to hate and try to kill and wipe out Arab Muslim people. But the Palestinian people have been brainwashed for over 100 years that it's a good deed to kill and slaughter the Jews. They're taught at a young age this violence. It has to be monitored. Every synagogue, church, mosque has to be monitored. This is what's going to happen. A new citizen status. It's not going to be a voting status in the beginning. It cannot be. You cannot all of a sudden have these people. We're going to give them health care, social security, all the proper schooling, access to universities, everything that a full citizen wants. This is the only solution. The blessing of God is to make peace. The Holy Land is the biggest disgrace of God's name for over 3,500 years. It's the source of deep teaching, but it's also the source of deep hatred and bloodshed. And that now, in these dark times, is the time we have to fix it. So spread the news. If you can translate this into Hebrew, Arabic, whatever language, Palace Rail, it needs to be a new name for both nations, a new flag, a new national anthem, new education. Every Jewish child has to learn how to speak Arabic. If you can't communicate with people living in your country, you're not going to be able to be peace with them. All the Muslim people here need to learn how to speak Hebrew. It has to be given. It has to be that the Knesset can never be controlled by any religion, no religious ideology. It has to be democracy that grants religious freedoms to all religions, but no religion can enforce their religiosity on any one person anywhere in Palestine. This needs to happen now. The Israeli army needs to take it over everywhere, to control, to take away all the military within the state of Israel and on its in all of the other places where terror is flourishing. This is what's keeping the Palestinian way. But at the same time, it needs to start to have. But what happens? It's the outside interference that's keeping the the Jews and the Muslims from making peace here. The people want peace. All the people want to live. There are some fanatics here. Mostly it's Islamic fanatics that are taught that no Jew should be able to live anywhere here. But it keeps going because it's funded by Iran and Qatar and so many of these other nations that grab a hold. And Israel is grabbing a hold of all the warmongers and the big businesses that want to use Israel as a testing ground for military equipment. We have to get rid of that all. No more outside forces. We have to have Palestine. We have to have the Palestinian people and the Jewish people vote on this. It has to happen now to get the word out. So spread the word. This is the only solution. There's no more possibility for Israel to survive while so many Palestinians don't have a citizenship and a future. At the same time, there's no way for the Palestinians to keep going with this terror. Jews need to be secure in this world. The Jewish people need to be safe. This has to be declared a safe haven with always a 65% majority of Jews in the Knesset. There are other Muslim countries, but we have to give Palestinian rights and claim victory for both peoples. That's the only way there could be victory for all the future. This will bring peace. This is the only way to bring peace, and that's what has to happen. There can't be two states. That was what they tried in Gaza. That was supposed to be the second state. It always gets taken over. If Israel isn't watching it, it will be taken over again by the fundamental Islam, and they control their own people. We have to give a new education that has to be a certain curriculum in the school where both peoples learn how they got tricked and abused by outside countries from the get-go. And we have to reunite the family of Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Esav, and Jacob. Now is the time we can do it. We see that Esav, which is the Christian world, has the blessing of helping the Jews get back to the land of Israel. And we see that a lot of churches are getting the word out. We have to stop the reign of violence that keeps the Palestinian people suffering. But at the same time, they have to understand it's the terror. It's not Israel, it's the terror that keeps them suffering. So there's no way to make a two-state solution. But this Palestine will let Christians, Jews, and Muslims, secular people, agnostics, whoever it is, Druze, Bedouin, thrive in the land. Everyone wants citizenship. Yet the Orthodox people are going to have to join the army. The Muslim people are going to have to make national service. I don't have all the details worked out, but it came to me as a clear prophecy, something internal, not an external voice. So spread the hope. This is what has to happen today. This is the only solution. For 30 years, I've asked the left, the right, Muslims, Jews, Christians. No one gave me a practical solution. There's certain people here that are still dreaming. We'll wipe all of those out. We'll wipe all of this out. That's not going to happen. There's other people saying, well, we're going to transfer them to Egypt. No, Egypt and Jordan doesn't want them. Well, we'll make two states. No, that didn't work. It doesn't work two states. There's already one state that's Jewish, but also has a lot of Muslims and Christians. We're not going to kick them out. And the other state would be all Muslim and for sure taken over by the Hamas type terrorists. And that Israel can't do it. It's a small place. The IDF is the most moral army in the world. It has to break the terror structure in a strong way. But at the same time, it has to let the Palestinians know we're changing the name. It's going to be a victory. This victory over terror is going to be a victory for two countries to get together and bring a blessing of peace to the world. Palestine now.